Field Marshal Herbert Charles Onslow Plumer, 1st Viscount Plumer, GCB, GCMG, GCVO, GBE was a senior British Army officer of the First World War, after commanding 5th Corps at the Second Battle of Ypres in April 1915. He took command of the Second Army in May 1915 and in June 1917 won an overwhelming victory over the German army at the Battle of Messines, which started with the simultaneous explosion of a series of mines placed by the Royal Engineers tunnelling companies beneath German lines, which created 19 large craters and was described as the loudest explosion in human history. He later served as Commander-in-Chief of the British Army of the Rhine and then as Governor of Malta before becoming High Commissioner of the British Mandate for Palestine in 1925 and retiring in 1928. Military career. Born the son of Herbert Plumer and Louisa Alice Plumer and educated at Eton College and the Royal Military College, Sandhurst, Plumer was commissioned as a lieutenant into the 65th Regiment of Foot on the 11th of September 1876. He joined his regiment in India and became adjutant of his battalion on the 29th of April 1879. Promoted to captain on the 29th of May 1882, he accompanied his battalion to the Sudan in 1884 as part of the Nile expedition. Plumer was present at the Battle of Entebbe in February 1884 and the Battle of Toumai in March 1884, and was mentioned in dispatches. He spent from 1886 to 1887 attending the Staff College, Camberley, before being appointed Deputy Assistant Adjutant General in Jersey on 7 May 1890. He was promoted to Major on the 22nd of January 1893 and posted to the 2nd Battalion, the York and Lancaster Regiment before being appointed Assistant Military Secretary to the General Officer commanding Cape Colony in December 1895. He went to Southern Rhodesia in 1896 to disarm the local police force following the Jameson raid and then later that year returned there to command the Matabele Relief Force during the Second Matabele War. He became Deputy Assistant Adjutant General at Aldershot with promotion to Brevet Lieutenant Colonel on 8 May 1897. In 1899 Plumer returned to Southern Rhodesia where he raised a force of mounted infantry and, having been promoted to the substantive rank of Lieutenant Colonel on 17 October 1900, he led them at the Siege of Mafeking during the Second Boer War. He was promoted to Colonel on 29 November 1900 and was then given command of a mixed force which captured General Christian de Wet's wagon train at Hamelfontein in February 1901. Plumer arrived back in the United Kingdom in April 1902, and 2 months later was received in audience by King Edward VII on his return. Promoted to Major General on the 22nd of August 1902, he was appointed commander of the 4th Brigade within 1st Army Corps later the same year. He became General Officer commanding 10th Division within 4th Army Corps and General Officer commanding Eastern District in December 1903. He became Quartermaster General to the forces in February 1904, General Officer commanding 7th Division in April 1906 and General Officer commanding 5th Division within Irish Command in May 1907. Promoted to Lieutenant General on 4 November 1908. He went on to be General Officer Commanding-in-Chief for Northern Command in November 1911. First World War. Following the unexpected death of Sir James Grierson on his arrival in France in 1914, Plumer was considered for command of one of two corps of the British Expeditionary Force alongside Douglas Haig. This position eventually went to Horace Smith-Dorrien. Plumer was sent to France in February 1915 and given command of 5th Corps, which he led at the Second Battle of Ypres in April 1915. He took command of the Second Army in May 1915 and, having been promoted to full general on the 11th of June 1915, he won an overwhelming victory over the German army at the Battle of Messines in June 1917. The battle started with the simultaneous explosion of a series of mines placed by the Royal Engineers tunneling companies beneath German lines. The detonation created 19 large craters and was described as the loudest explosion in human history. After the mines were fired, Plumer's soldiers left the trenches and advanced 3,000 yards. He won further victories at the Battle of the Menin Road Ridge and the Battle of Polygon Wood in September 1917 and the Battle of Broadside in October 1917, advancing another 5,000 yards in the process. In November 1917, Plumer was given command of the British Expeditionary Force sent to the Italian front after the disaster at Caporetto. Early in 1918, Plumer was sought by Lloyd George for the position of Chief of the Imperial General Staff as a replacement for William Robertson. He declined the position. Plumer instead commanded Second Army during the final stages of the war, during the German Spring Offensive and the Allied 100 Days Offensive. Later career, Plumer became General Officer Commanding-in-Chief the British Army of the Rhine in December 1918 and Governor of Malta in May 1919. He was promoted to Field Marshal on the 31st of July 1919 and was created Baron Plumer of Messines and of Bilton on the 18th of October 1919. In October 1925 he became High Commissioner of the British Mandate for Palestine. He resisted Arab pressure to reverse commitments made by the British in the Balfour Declaration and dealt firmly with both the Zionists and the Arab nationalists. On the 24th of July 1927 he conducted the inauguration ceremony for the Menin Gate Memorial at Ypres in Belgium. Plumer was created Viscount Plumer for his long and distinguished public services on the 3rd of June 1929. He died at his home in Knightsbridge in London on the 16th of July 1932 and was buried in Westminster Abbey. Family. In July 1884, Plumer married Annie Constance Goss, daughter of George and Eleanor Goss. They had 3 daughters and 1 son. Honours: British Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the Bath, 1st of January 1918. Knight Grand Cross of the Order of St. Michael and St. George, 1st of January 1916. Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, 14th of July 1917. Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the British Empire, 1924. Knight of Grace of the Venerable Order of St. John, 23rd of June 1925. Foreign Legion of Honor, 14th of December 1917. Croix de Guerre, the 11th of March 1918. Croix de Guerre with Palm, the 11th of March 1919. Distinguished Service Medal, the 12th of July 1919.